So in today's update, we actually got a nerf to the CR56 AMAX, the Bullfrog, the Farah, and the Street Sweeper. And in this video, what we want to do is compare the AMAX, now it's been nerfed, to one of the more popular weapons inside Warzone for long range, which is the Krig. And we want to compare them to let you know which is the best long range weapon inside Warzone, and if the AMAX is still viable. If you enjoy weapon stat breakdowns, weapon comparisons, and overall tips and tricks for Warzone, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we're trying to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers. And click that link in the description and subscribe to our second channel. We do make shorts over there as well. So like I said, the main focus of this video is to compare the Krig with the AMAX to figure out which one is actually the best, because as we all know, the Krig actually kills faster than the Grau and the Kilo, and it is definitely a very viable long range weapon in Warzone. The movement did get nerfed on that gun though, so it doesn't really move as quick as it used to, but it doesn't really matter because that is a long range weapon for sure. And then the AMAX got a damage nerf today, and we'll discuss that a bit more in detail, but I'm going to quickly show you the class setups we used to compare both of these guns. So for the AMAX, we used the regular meta build for this gun, which is the Zodiac barrel, mono suppressor, 45 round mags, commando foregrip, and VLK optic. So we all know what the class setup is for the AMAX. Then for the Krig, we built it for long range, of course, so the agency suppressor, the field agent grip. We then used the ranger barrel because this gives the best bullet velocity values, the 60 round mags because this gives you the biggest mags without too much of a con, and then we used the vision tech to do the testing, but you can also use the axial arms or the Susat multi-zoom. And these are the two builds we use to compare both of these weapons. The next thing we need to take a look into is overall handling stats on both of these weapons. Now on the AMAX, the handling stats never really got touched with this update. It was mainly the damage profiles, so I do just want to mention that. So this is going to be exactly the same as it was before. And then on the Krig, again, the only thing that really got changed was the strafe speed as well as the ADS movement speed, but that's not what we're discussing in this video. We'll make a whole separate video talking about Cold War movement. But on screen just now, you will see the handling stats. The AMAX on the left, Krig on the right. The Krig does have a slightly faster rate of fire, but not by much. Both of these guns do fire pretty slow. The AMAX does have the slower ADS speed as well. So the Krig has a faster ADS speed at 400 milliseconds. The Krig has a bigger mag at 60 rounds instead of the AMAX's 45 rounds. Reload times go to the Krig as well at 2 seconds, and bullet velocity goes to the Krig as well at 1,200 meters per second compared to the AMAX's 950 meters per second. But even though the Krig does perform a little bit better than the AMAX when it comes to handling, that's not everything we need to discuss, because damage and TTK comes into this quite heavily as well, and that's kind of one of the main reasons why everyone uses the AMAX. So what I actually want to show you now is what changes were actually made to the AMAX's damage, and then we'll compare this to the Krig as well in just a moment. But what you'll actually see on screen just now is the screenshot from the spreadsheet taken from JGod's video. Now if you haven't checked that out already, I'll have a link to that in the description below. So shout out to JGod for providing this stats. But at the moment, what you'll see on screen is a before and after for the AMAX's damage profile. On the left is before, on the right is after. And as you can see, in terms of close range damage, if you look at that 0 to 24 meter distance, nothing has changed whatsoever. So the AMAX will still fry up close regardless of what you do, because the damage profile stayed the same and the rate of fire has also stayed the same. Then when it comes to the 24 meters plus damage profile, you can see the headshot damage has been reduced from 51 down to 50. The chest shot damage is reduced from 38 down to 37. And the stomach and limbs has been reduced down from 32 down to 31. So as you can see, if you're landing only stomach or limb shots, it's going to actually take one more shot to kill, and it's going to increase your TTK. But if you're landing headshots and chest shots, it's not really going to change your TTK all that much. But what this does do now is it does actually increase the number of headshots you need to get a 6-shot kill. So instead of it being a 2-hit headshot to get 6 shots to kill, it's actually going to take 3 headshots to get a 6-shot to kill. On the overall grand scheme of things, they haven't really nerfed the AMAX enough, in my opinion. They tried to kind of give it a kind of balance, but this gun is still pretty overpowered in Warzone. And as you can see, the only thing that's really changed here is the number of shots it takes to kill if you're landing stomach or limb shots. And most people are going to try and aim for the upper chest or the head, of course, to try and get the best TTK possible. and those damage profiles have pretty much stayed exactly the same because it's going to take the same number of shots to kill. So now if you compare that with the Krig, you can see that the headshot damage is 5650 on the AMAX, the Krig is 4538. The body shot damage on the AMAX is 4237. The body shot damage on the Krig is 3328. Then on the TTK side, the TTK for the AMAX is 467 milliseconds up close and 571 at those longer distances. For the Krig, it's 644 milliseconds up close and then 736 at those longer distances. If you land one headshot with the rest all being upper chest shots with either one of these guns, the TTK does not change. So landing just one headshot and getting lucky doesn't really help you here. You do need to land more than one headshot, and to be precise, the actual number is 2 headshots mixed in with body shots to actually reduce that time to kill. So instead of just getting lucky now, you will need to intentionally aim for the head to land extra headshots. And the funny thing is, even before this AMAX nerf, it still took more than one headshot to reduce that TTK. So it's not like they changed that in any way, shape or form, it's just the way the AMAX has always been. The only thing we need to take a look into now is the recoil pattern for the AMAX to see if they've changed this in any way. So on screen just now, you will see a recoil chart taken at a 20-meter distance. We have the AMAX on the left, and that's the fully kitted AMAX, and then the Krig on the right with all the best attachments as well. And as you can see, both of these guns have pretty straightforward recoil patterns to manage. So in a way, pretty much the AMAX as well as the Krig recoil pattern is quite similar because they both go vertically upwards. So all you need to do is pull down on your analog stick and that would correct for most of the recoil. The only difference is the Krig does cut harshly to the right in its initial recoil pattern, but after that it does go pretty much vertically upwards. One thing I do want to quickly mention regarding the Krig is that Cold War weapons overall just do have a lot more visual recoil. So you will notice that the AMAX has less visual recoil with the VLK optic compared to the Krig with the axial 3x optic. But overall, when you're controlling recoil, both of these guns are going to be extremely accurate at those longer distances. So overall, in my opinion, I do still think the AMAX is the best AR in Warzone right now. The time to kill has not been increased enough, and just reducing the damage mainly on the limbs and the stomach is not really going to change this gun all too much, especially when recoil and everything else hasn't been touched as well. So like I said, I don't think this gun is going to be knocked off the #1 spot. So if I had to pick one of these two guns, the AMAX is the clear winner here, and I would absolutely just stick with the AMAX for the time being. I do think they'll nerf this gun one more time, so I'd definitely keep an eye out for that. But if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we try to reach our goal of 10,000 subscribers. Also, click that link in the description and subscribe to our second channel, and thank you very much for watching.